Hello everyone, this is Shivasagar. Recently we have come across a good podcast. Okay, like over the few months we have seen many podcasts, but this one stands alone. Okay, it was one podcast which actually got much attention over the days, like a week ago. Okay, that is of Vijay Mallya's podcast with Raj Shamani. So where he talked about ease of doing business. Okay, so today's topic we are going to discuss about is problems that is hindering ease of doing business in India. Okay, there are several problems which has hindered India's ease of doing business. Okay, so what are those, and what is the controversial statement made by Vijay Mallya? Not calling it as controversial, it is also conformity to facts as well. So that is, ease of doing business in India is a myth. That is what being condensed by the media people. So whatever he said, he believes that ease of doing business in India is not that much easy. He has faced many hurdles, and so the companies have also voiced out that they have also faced many kinds of hurdles, may it be political or bureaucratic. Okay, so what are the hurdles? So let's get into right away the topic of ease of doing business. What does it talk about? It is talking about regulatory and procedural efficiency for businesses or companies for starting and operating a particular business. Okay, so what happens here? So India's performance, because World Bank actually publishes the report of ease of doing business of countries. So the last report which was published about ease of doing businesses in the year 2020, where it published in around 190 out of 190 countries, India ranking around 63rd rank, like it is the exact rank is 63rd in terms of doing business with ease without any kind of restrictions and limitations. So compared to 2014, where India was around India's rank was around 160 now, and in 2016 it was 130. During the NDS government, you can see that there has been a substantial improvement in ease of doing business, even though World Bank is not actually publishing the reports, yet you can see there has been a skyrocketed improvements in ease of doing business. Maybe there might be increase in foreign direct investment and also foreign institutional investments. Okay, so despite of all these things, you can see the challenges remain intact. And what are those challenges? Ground level difficulties that we are going to discuss, and what are the difficulties that companies are facing in this country. Okay, so that is multiple clearance certificate, tax certificates, and state agencies, state registration certificate, and different kinds of water committees. Even they have state water agencies committees, and also they have to provide their confirmation in order to proceed with the business process. Okay, there are multiple clearances that are required in a particular state, and they have to approach all the boards and concerned departments in order to run a business. Okay, so inconsistent implementation. Various states actually come up with different kinds of policies. It is not uniform. Okay, so because there are different reasons, of course state policies and central policies always conflict with each other, and ultimately it will delay the process of doing a business, that is for firms. Okay, so they are the ones who are being targeted because of the inconsistent implementation. And again, you have cumbersome compliance. GST laws, which is still a burden for certain business industries. You can see that GST as a whole has hit some target and also has missed a few targets. And what has happened here is the compliance of GST has been an infesting issues which has crumbled the business people, and yet there has been a reforms in terms of mitigating the impediments in GST, but it seems that it is also an issue for doing business. Okay, so and labor laws and environment, labor in the sense we are talking about those legislative part for a labor, the boards like ESI, EPF, all those needs to be done by a business, and those kind of boards delay the procedure of paperworks, and that also provides a lot of impediments to do a business with ease. Okay, so again, when it comes to land acquisition and infrastructure, there are certain remote areas and village areas where we can see it is inadequate transport, power and digital connectivity is seldom good. Okay, it is rarely good. It is not up to the level at which business can facilitate production and also increase their productivity. And land acquisition delays because private peoples, even though they demand lands from people, farmers and there are other kinds of people, landholders, who actually deny to give their lands at a market value, because see, even though corporate sector's goal is to produce goods and services, increase the aggregate demand by producing the aggregate supply of goods and services, that is also impacting the people socially. So that is why what is important is lack of social impact assessments. Okay, so lack of social impact assessment is done by the corporate sector, because see, ultimately if a land needs to be allocated or acquired by the corporates, ultimately it will be taken on the consideration of social impact assessment. Okay, how will it impact the community if a corporate companies or any kinds of institution takes their lands or buys their lands. And when it comes to urban areas, there are a lot of congestions, roads are shanty and scanty roads, and what happens here is congestion in turn will increase the fuel prices. Congestion during the transportation time will in turn increase the transportation cost, because due to traffics the transportation cost increases, fuel consumption increases. Okay, so the companies which work with the basis of transportation of goods and services, when they are transporting the goods and services, it will in turn increase the cost of production. Okay, because and the cities, especially the urban areas with the poverty stricken urban areas such as slums or area which is filled with congestion, will increase the transportation cost and will also limit the space. Okay, space ultimately leading to raise in the costs of urban operations. Okay, so next, when it comes to judicial front, you have government officials who are having excessive control for facilitating the business things. Even though government should facilitate the ease of doing businesses, that paperworks and all those things will delay it, and state rules are different, and also central excise tax regulation is different. State registration papers will also prolong a lot of time, and in turn it will delay the process of ease of doing business. Okay, and of course corruption is also prevalent, which we will talk later. And the basic act, that is Indian Contract Act, forms the legal basis of contract law in India, but lacks modern enforcement mechanisms. Even though the law facilitates with fair contracts, but there are loopholes in which the impediments for continuing the business will be affected majorly. Okay, so and delayed approvals like licensing, inspection process, all those things will also prolong a bit, and it will slow down the production and also the process of the approval, and in turn the companies will actually be affected by this kind of delayed procedures. Okay, lack of transparency, delay in approvals will result in lack of ease in terms of doing a business or conducting a business operation. Okay, arbitrary regulation changes. See, let's say there is a changes in the fiscal policy, increase in the taxation. Okay, increase in the progressive taxation will ultimately result in let's say if people are investing in the form of FDI, foreign direct investment, or FII, and ultimately the investments which were attracted earlier will be demotivated. because higher the taxation for capital gains or any kinds of gains in our business and operations will ultimately affect FDI, and higher the tax rates will demotivate and discourage the other firms, let's foreign direct investments from different countries, companies and foreign individuals, and those who are residing in a foreign entity will also be hampered by this tax regulation, and this will deter in the sense reduce the investors confidence in investing in that particular things. Okay, so you won't be investing in a company, you won't be investing in any kinds of productive investments, or he won't be investing, if it is FII they won't be investing in PPF, they won't be investing in ESI, mutual funds, any kind of things. Okay, so you know what is FDI, foreign direct investment, where foreign individuals, foreign institution and countries invest, own, manage and control. They acquire the physical capital and they acquire the financial capital. They actually invest the financial capital, they run the business, they control it, they own it, they manage it. Whereas in FII, what happens, you'll only invest in mutual funds or PPF, but you'll own it, but you won't manage and control that operation. Okay, so here FDI execution part is more, and in FII execution part of the investors is much less. Okay, ultimately the dividends and interest rate or internal rate of returns which they believe in is the key factor here. If they are getting less, they wouldn't have any kind of incentive to invest in this particular things. And when it comes to all other aspects other than this, bureaucrats and other kinds of government officials have also caused lot of troubles for the businesses, because the delay of the procedure, crony capitalism and all such problems have hampered the progress in a major way. And you can see that podcast where Vijay Mallya was actually voicing out the opinions of companies was actually true for a matter of fact. But you can see that national company affiliate tribunal, all those things all are also delaying the arbitration process, which is also hampering on judicial front. Okay, so there are many other reasons as such which have contributed to reduction in ease of doing the business. So despite of all these things, there are solutions also provided by the government, but you can see that tax impediments or lack of bureaucracy control, which reduces the transparency of ease of doing business and facilitation of ease of doing business, and also they are thinking in the perspective of environment as well. Okay, so acquiring a particular land will also impact socially. Social impact assessment becomes a huge solution for acquiring lands and also working on the basis of economic development as well as environmental sustainability. All these things taken into consideration, ease of doing business should be provided with a solution of social impact assessment, and also facilitating financial discipline with the assistance provided quintessentially by the state government and central government. Okay, so fiscal federalism, that means cooperative federalism, that means working of governments from central government, state government and local self government should contribute in helping the business and different kind of operations to increase the productivity. In turn, that will increase the aggregate demand in an economy. Okay, so that is how business sector, or let's say firms, are quintessential to progress to actually develop the entire economy. Thank you all.